Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue, welcome. Voici la vidéo sommaire de la 3e classe de français pour les débutants à Chepstow. So that was a long bit of French. This is the 3rd summary video, or the summary video of the 3rd French for Beginners class that I've done. In fact, it was this week on Wednesday, mercredi soir, Wednesday evening, in Chepstow at the 3 Tons. If you haven't been there, you've got to go there. It's a great place. They do live music, good food, etc. So, where did we leave off? In fact, this week, what we did at the beginning of the class was we looked at some vocabulary. So, actually, it was nouns, a list of nouns. So, here are some of them. In fact, I was a bit naughty. At the beginning of the class this week, I gave out a list of difficult vocabulary, but actually they were all anagrams of some nouns that we'd seen in the week before. So here are the unscrambled, actual, real nouns. Just a few of them so that you can remember. They're quite common, and they're also things that I really like, so I talk about them a lot. Here's one of them. La danse. La danse, dancing. La musique. La musique. You could have, for example, la musique classique, classical music, la musique folk music, musique reggae. So whatever the type of music is, you could just add the adjective that describes music onto the end. But for now, we'll just stick with la musique because it's simpler. So we have la musique, la danse. Here's another one. La pollution. Ooh, this is not so good. La pollution, pollution. So it looks exactly the same as the English. You pronounce this sion. La pollution. La musique, ic. Danse, musique, pollution. You may notice that all of these have la in front of them, so that la translates into English as the. Okay, so but what this tells you about these nouns is A, that they are singular, and B, that they are all feminine nouns. So in French, as in many languages, but not like in English, nouns have genders. That means they can be masculine or feminine in French. They can also be singular, or they can be plural. So these are all singular. La, la, la. Let's think of one of the ones from the list that's masculine. Huh. Le café. Le café. Le accent aigu. That's an accent aigu, an acute accent over the E. Le café. This means coffee. It can also mean a cafe, like the place you go to have a coffee, but le café, think of it as coffee for now. Another one. Le vin. Très populaire en France, le vin. Very popular in France, also popular here actually, if we're honest. Wine, le vin. So, vin, or le vin, is wine. And the le in front of café and the le in front of vin tells you that these are both singular nouns and they're masculine. So la and le are the two common articles you will see in front of nouns if they are singular. So articles, these are called the definite article. I think I mentioned these last week in my video. The definite article is a sort of grammar way of referring to words that mean the. So in English we just have one word. Sometimes we pronounce it the, sometimes we pronounce it the, but there's one word. And we don't have gendered nouns generally, so it's a lot easier in English. Let's have a little think. Any other words? Ah oui. Par exemple. I'm just going to make some room on the board. So they're all singular nouns, you see. They were the ones that were on our list from the class. However, you will come across plural nouns and they will always have les in front of them. So, par exemple, les stylos, pens, les stylos. Plural nouns will often have an S at the end to show that they're plural, like in English. It's worth noting that sometimes there won't be an S. The ending might change to something different, and there are rules to that, and we'll look at those probably in the next week or two, over the course for sure. Let's have a think. Here's an example that someone gave in last week's lesson. Les bananes. Les bananes. Well, it's just almost the same as in English. Bananas. I'm not talking about one banana or the banana, we're talking about the bananas, the pens. So be wary of those. Here's another one. Les maisons. Les maisons, that's an N there. M-A-I-S-O-N-S. This means the houses. If that were just the house, then it would be la maison. La maison, the house, the houses. So we've got a mixture of masculine and feminine nouns here in the plural. The good thing is, well, I'm not sure if it's a good thing, but it makes it easier. In the plural, if you're saying the something or others, it doesn't matter whether it's masculine or feminine, because you'll always have les in front of them. Anyway, so we looked at some vocabulary, and we'll be seeing more of these words in weeks to come. The second thing we did, we looked at numbers, and just numbers 0 à 10. 0, 0, à 10, 10. So the way I did this was I gave everyone a number, asked them to repeat it, and we went around in a group and everyone said their number. That worked quite well. We'll go on and play a little game in a moment, which hopefully you can play at home. But I'm just firstly going to introduce how you pronounce the numbers. In fact, we'll do 1 to 10, and 0, it's quite similar to the English, but we'll do 1 to 10. And I'm not going to give you the way that's spelt, we'll just do the way they're pronounced. So, après moi, répétez. Repeat after me. Ok. 1. 1. 2. 2. Très bien. 3. 1, 2, 3. Répétez. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 et 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 5, très bien. Et 6. 7. 8. 9. It's actually really difficult to do this. 9. 10. Ouais. Ok. 5. 10. 2, 3, 5, 10, 1, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, et puis 0. Okay. What about if I hold my hand up and you tell me what the number is? En français. 3. 5, oui. 8. 9, oui, ok. 3, ok, très bien. 4. Super. What if I show you the numbers on here? 0, 0. I'll show you how that one's written actually, because it's the only one that has an accent in it, I think. So we've got 0. Z-E, accent aigu, R-O. 0. So remember that E accent aigu is an E sound. That's the only one you're getting written down. Oh, excuse me, I just need to plug in my computer. Lucky that didn't turn off midway through the lesson. Let me just put the battery on over here as well. I was trying to save electricity, you see. Voilà, c'est bien, c'est good now. 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the point when you find out it's out of order. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bravo, très bien, very good. So now we can count from 0 à 10. 0 to 10. Very useful. Okay, c'est super. What was the next thing? Right, so this is something I said. Oh no, this is what we're going to do next. We're going to do a game. Going to do the game. Getting ahead of myself. So this is something that we did in class. I want to count as high as possible whilst throwing the ball and catching it. So in between throwing and catching, compter en français. Count in French. So, par exemple, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I find it hard to get past 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, etc., etc. Do it really fast if you want. Plus vite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes! I made 7. That's 7. So try that at home. So, lancer la balle et attraper la balle. So, lancer means to throw or to launch. Attraper, catch or trap it. Lancer, attraper. Lancer, attraper. In fact, that brings me on to another thing that we did on our lesson. So last week in class we looked at some common ER verbs. Common ER verbs. So these are verbs that end with ER written, written at the end. So, in fact, in our summary video last week, we looked at 3. I'll make a note of something to come back to in a moment. Adjectives. So we looked at, what were they? Ah oui. Regarder. Regarder, look at, or to watch something, très bien. That one. Écouter, très bien, listen, or listen to something. Ah oui. P-A-R-L-E-R, parler, parler français, par exemple. So that means to speak, to listen to watch, or to look at. Now, I just mentioned 2 other regular ER verbs. So we had lancer, to throw, or to launch if you want to think of it like that. Lancer. Comment ça s'écrit? Lancer, comment ça s'écrit? How do you spell it? Have I got space on the board? Let me just check that you can see all of this, because I might have to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in anyway. Just make sure I don't cut my head off again this time. Yeah, you see that? Okay, so lancer, ça s'écrit, it's written L-A-N-C-E-R. Répétez après moi. L-A-N-C-E-R. Lancer. All of these have ER at the end because they are ER verbs. What was the other one? Lancer, attraper, attraper. Comment ça s'écrit? How do you think? Attraper. A, T, T, R, A, P, E, R. Attraper. ER at the end because it's an ER verb. So this means to throw. Remember, it looks a little bit like launch. To to launch something like a rocket or, well, yeah, launch something to throw. Attraper, well, attraper can mean to capture or to catch, but you can think maybe of the word trap. Trap a ball in your hands. Launch and trap, lancer, attraper. So that one means to catch. Okay, très bien. So, we're going to lancer le ballon, attraper le ballon. Et compter à 10 en français, si possible, if possible. So, I might just, instead of counting in between throwing and catching, I'll do one throw and catch per number. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh, I missed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 et 10. Excellent. So, je lance la balle, I throw the ball, et j'attrape la balle. Okay, I throw the ball and I catch the ball. So that takes me on to the next thing. When you have these verbs, there are three main types of verbs, and this is one of the first types. So the ones that end with ER. Out of each category of verbs, there are also irregular ones. So that means that when you change the spelling after a pronoun like je regarde, I look at, or vous regardez, you look at, there's like set forms, little rules that you can do so that you know how to pronounce them in the proper way for each person you're talking to or about. There are irregular ones which change, but we're looking at the regular ones now, so should be nice and easy. So let me show you how you change these verbs to make a sentence. We only looked very briefly at this in our lesson actually last week, and we had loads of verbs. Remember, I gave you like 15 or 20 ER verbs, and I don't expect you to remember them all, but this bit is important. So let's take the verb, we'll start with lancer actually. Do you remember what that meant? We just had it now. Lancer, to throw. Lancer. When it's written like this, which means to throw, this is your whole verb, or your infinitive verb. That's what we call it when it has its ER at the end. And that's probably what you'll find when you look up the verb throw in an English to French dictionary. It will say lancer. And then it'll probably have a little V in parentheses because it means verb. Right? So by now I would love if you could recognise that as a verb in its infinitive form. I want to say I throw the ball, or I am throwing the ball. So in English we have two ways of saying that. I throw it, or I am throwing. Right now I'm throwing the ball. So what we do, we need to find the stem of the verb, and the stem is everything that comes before that ER bit. So lance is the stem. We get rid of the stem. In fact, what we need to do first is we need to put je, because that's the start of the sentence. I throw. So we get rid of the ending, the ER, and we find the stem. That leaves us with lance. Then we add an E. Je lance. Je lance la balle. I throw, or I'm throwing the ball. Let's use another ER verb. So we had regarder. You'll be getting sick of this after a while, but that's good because I want you to instantly recognise and remember the meaning. So there's your infinitive verb, and that means to watch or to look at. So, for example, I am looking at the ball. That's what I want to say. En français, we need to start off with je. In fact, it's the start of the sentence, so we'll put a capital J. Je, and we find the stem of that verb. So the stem is everything that comes before the ER. So it's je regarde, and then we put an E at the end. Je regarde. Je regarde la balle. looking at the ball. Okay, great. So what if we have a verb like écouter, écouter, which means écouter, listen to. If I want to say I listen, we won't do I listen to, we'll do the verb that we just did just now. Because écouter, we've had that time and again. So I've got the verb attraper, attraper, to catch. I catch the ball. So here's the verb. A-T-T-R-A-P-E-R. As with all these other infinitive ER verbs, ER at the end is pronounced E. Attraper. So let's find the stem. Let's start our sentence. Je. I want to say I catch the ball, la balle. Okay, now the problem with this is that we have a verb starting with a vowel, A. If I said je attrape, well, it'd be hard to say for a start. So here we have the stem of the verb, that bit for ER, j'attrape. What do we do with a present tense je verb? We just add an E, don't we? Attrape. So je and attrape is hard to say, so what we do is we take out the E and we put in an apostrophe. So that there is how you deal with je followed by a verb that starts with a vowel. J'attrape la balle. J'attrape la balle. Je lance la balle, j'attrape la balle, je regarde la balle, j'écoute la balle, etc. Okay, fine. So you just find the stem of the verb, take off the ER and add an E. Now you might be thinking, Charlotte, why do you say take off the ER and then put the E back? Why not just tell me take off the R? Well, good question. This is why you do that. So if you want to change the verb so it can be used with other pronouns like vous, for example, you, this is how you do it. So let's take the same verbs. Lancer, to throw, yeah, okay, good. So if I want to say you throw or you are throwing the ball, I start off with vous, which means you. And it can also mean you lot, all of you guys. Remember, this is the polite way of saying you. So we need to find the stem of the verb, lance, take off the E and the R, which leaves us with this. Then we add EZ. Vous lancez la balle. But Charlie, I hear you ask, but Charlotte, lancer sounds exactly the same as lancer with an EZ. Yes, you're right. C'est très bien. It's very true. Lancer, the EZ at the end is always going to be in the present vous form of a verb. So, vous lancez, vous attrapez, EZ, la balle, vous regardez la balle. These are three sentences in the vous form. Et. What do they mean? You are throwing the ball, or you throw the ball. You are catching the ball, or you catch the ball. You are looking at the ball, or you watch the ball. Okay? Regardez la balle might be something you say if you're coaching your son or daughter. Look at the ball, keep your eye on the ball. Okay, brilliant. So, after that, let me check the time. We're 25 minutes in, so let's just see how long it takes to get to the end of the lesson. So, lancer, to throw, attraper, to catch, regarder, all in the vous form, EZ at the end. This works with any, well, most verbs actually in the vous form, but any of the ones we've looked at. Here's another one, manger, vous mangez, you eat, vous parlez, you speak, vous, I'm not sure if you can see that on the board actually. No, you can't, so let me just move it up. Voilà. Vous jouez, you play, vous passez, you pass. Any regular ER verb in the vous form will have an EZ at the end. So that leads me on to something that we did in our lesson in class on Wednesday. We looked at forming simple questions in the vous form. One question in particular, really, using a certain verb, an ER verb that we haven't looked at yet in this video. So that ER verb was aimer. Okay, I'm going to try and zoom back in and get down that. Let's see if this works. Move that up a little bit. Le stylo bleu, je pense. Okay, I think I'm going to use the blue pen. So, here is that verb. A-I-M-E-R. Aimer. You see that? We're getting a little bit closer. Aimer. Qu'est-ce que c'est aimer? En anglais, qu'est-ce que c'est? What is it? En anglais, it means to like, or it could mean to love. It depends on how we would translate it into English. In French, aimer is sort of either of those. So, let's put that verb into the vous form. So we identify the stem of the verb, which is that M bit, comes before the ER. And what do we add for vous? We add an EZ. That's in the you form. If we were just saying you like something, we would put vous here. Vous aimez blah blah blah. Instead, doing something a bit different. Aimer, and then a little hyphen. Aimez-vous blah 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 blah. Question mark. This means, do you like you such and such? Aimez-vous la musique? Oui. Do you like, aimez-vous les bananes? That was the one that we had, isn't it, in our class? Les bananes. Aimez-vous les bananes? Do you like bananas? Aimez-vous les bananes? Oui? No? So, what was another one we had? Ah oui. Aimez-vous? Do you like? Can you guess what I'm going to do, my students? Le pamplemousse. This was a really good one, I thought. Good question by someone. Aimez-vous le pamplemousse? Do you like le pamplemousse? So this is a singular masculine noun. Do you like? Well, I'll show you what it is because I have one here. Le pamplemousse. It's not an orange. It is a grapefruit. J'aime beaucoup le pamplemousse. I really like grapefruit. So you can use this aimez-vous, which means do you like, do you love, plus a noun. It could be a singular noun like le pamplemousse, or aimez-vous la musique, do you like music? Or it could be something in the plural like aimez-vous les bananes, do you like bananas? So very similar to English. That's just a very simple way of asking questions. Now, if someone asks you a question in French and you understand them and they use this aimez-vous form, and that's a great start. You can recognise that verb to like. You recognise that the aimez-vous is talking to you. What about if you want to answer that question? So, we're going to just look at how you say I like such and such, using the verb aimer again. But instead of saying you like, we're going to say I like, okay? So, A-I-M-E-R, that's your whole verb. If you're going to say I like something, you need to start off with je, yeah, just like in English, I something something. So we need to find the stem of the verb. There it is, A-I-M. Oh, what happens now? We've got a je, and then we've got a verb beginning with an A. So what do? Well, kind of like in English, we can make contractions. That's when you shorten two words and replace a letter or more than one letter with an apostrophe. So we've got je becomes J apostrophe. Then we've got the verb that starts with a vowel. There's the stem of the verb, and what do we do then? Do you remember? We add an E. E à la fin. E at the end. Très bien. Donc, question. Aimez-vous le pamplemousse? Do you like grapefruit? My answer. La réponse. The answer. Réponse. Oui. J'aime le pamplemousse. Yes, I do like grapefruit. Voilà. C'est facile. Oui. Yes. No. No. We'll look at how you say no, I don't like something next class, I think. So that's what we looked at. So we looked at some vocabulary, so some nouns, singular, masculine. We looked at the definite article. Remember how you say the? It might be le, or it might be la, or it might be plural, and it could be les. So we counted from 0 to 10. Très vite. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. C'est bien. And then we looked at some verbs, ER verbs like manger, lancer, passer, any other verbs, there's loads. Have a look in a dictionary, you'll find some. And then we looked at how you conjugate those verbs, how you change them into the vous form or the je form by adding an E or an EZ. And we also looked at using the verb aimer to ask a simple question. Aimez-vous? Blah, blah, blah. Oui, j'aime, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, the last thing I did was to set a piece of homework. Oh no, sorry, there's one more thing. A little test. So, last week we looked at some adjectives, some phrases, how you say it's great, it's fun, etc. So, here are some of the English ones. Can you remember? Let's go through them just once, I think so. En français, it's delicious is c'est délicieux. C'est délicieux. C'est difficile. C'est difficile. You see me there? That one? C'est amusant. Le français, c'est amusant, non? Ah oui, les verbes, c'est intéressant. Les grammaires, c'est intéressant. Très bien. Oh, voilà. That's how it looks. There you go. C'est triste. Comme ça. Ah, c'est dangereux. Comme ça. Like that. Oh, there's a few ways you can do this one. So, let's see which one it is. C'est formidable. C'est gratuit. Even better when something's free. La vidéo, c'est gratuite. That one. C'est facile. It's annoying. For example, it's annoying when the video is so long. C'est énervant. C'est énervant. E with an accent aigu. Énervant. Okay, so think of an American singer, lots of plastic surgery, big hair, love her voice. C'est cher. Okay, fab. So that actually means it's dear or it's expensive. C'est nul. Voilà. C'est this one. Ah, par exemple, la danse, c'est passionnante. Passionnant. C'est affreux. It's horrible. It's awful. Affreux. Oh, c'est ennuyeux. Voilà. Okay, so this, we had one that kind of means the same thing before. C'est formidable. But this is slightly different. This is, c'est génial. Oh, c'est génial. It's cool. It's great. And lastly, c'est calmant. C'est calmant. Okay, let's see. We're approaching 34 minutes now. So, let me tell you what your homework was as a reminder. So, homework was to go to youtube.com and look for chercher Ottawan. Right, so write these words in. D.I.S.C.O. D.I.S.C.O. Oui, puis français. Okay, so type in those words. Ottawan, that's the group. D.I.S.C.O, that's the song. And that's the language français. And so the first result should come up that's 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Let's just put 3 minutes 33. That's the version that you want. Like that. Okay, 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Listen to that. And I gave you a gap fill exercise. So you'll get this video. Students who come to my class, I'll send you an email with a link to the video. I'll send you a digital copy of the handout that you have for homework with the song lyrics and the adjectives that you need to fill in. Most of them are just adjectives. Some of them are short sentences such as c'est formidable. When you listen to the song a few times, you will realise that there is one response left over, one duplicate. So that duplicate is incorrect. It should be something else that fills in that last gap. You need to tell me, écoutez, listen to the song, and tell me what that adjective or short phrase is. And I'll be very impressed if you can get it. So I'll email you, I'll send you the digital copy of your handout for homework and a link to the song, and I might even put the link to the video, the music video, under my YouTube video, and maybe a link to the PDF of the listening exercise, which you can find on my website if you don't come to my classes. Merci beaucoup, bonne soirée, bon dimanche, and yeah, we'll see each other soon. À bientôt. Ciao.